Welcome to the Two Peacocks Travel Podcast, where women, culture, and purpose meet the road. We're Anna and Sandy, former hospital administrators turned global travelers, and we believe travel can change how you see the world and yourself. This is a space for stories of reinvention, immersive travel, and the journeys that shape who we're becoming. If you've been feeling the nudge to explore more, this one's for you.
So, you were just talking about, watching our friends or our loved ones, going through a grieving process. But how long should we
Mm,
allow ourselves or our friends to grieve before
mm,
we become concerned? Like, what?
yeah.
And I'm sure there's no time frame, but like, at what point do you say, okay, now, girl, shake that shit off and let's go, right? Like, I don't want to say that,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
at some point, I'm like, I need my friend back. Where are we traveling?
But But especially because in our society, in our world, everything's go, 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 move on, let's go, get over it, right?
Yes. Yes. So here's the reality. Like, you don't get a graduation certificate for going through grief. Ain't nobody coming and be like, "You did it. Like, you did it. Congratulations.
Cancel
We're,
that
like,
party,
siding
Anna.
with
Cancel that
you."
party. We're not
Like,
having
it's
that party.
no, it's not gonna that's not how it is. Grief really doesn't have a timeline. I mean, and grief actually doesn't stop. So people think there's this finite thing where like, oh, in 6 months you should stop grieving because the DSM-5 labels this into the depression category, right? But that's not truth. Like that's not actual reality. It's not what I see every day. That's for sure. It's not what I've experienced personally. Grief is something that is actually lifelong for most things, right? But what happens is there is a shift in how we grow with it and we carry it. So it becomes this thing that's part of the life experience that you learn to grow with and carry with. And so what I would say is what are the pivots from a friend standpoint and a loved one standpoint? For me, if you're noticing in months that there's no intermittent reprieve, like for most people, even in their state of grief, like I'll tell you this, when I'm sitting, like when I've sat with parents who are actively losing their child, right? Like I'm in the room with them and they have now lost their child. There, without a shadow of a doubt, is a moment where we're laughing. And if you walked in that room, you'd be like, what the hell is happening? But the reality is, there's a grace and levity in grief. And so if you're noticing that your friend never has that, like there's never a moment where they're sort of, laughing about something
Mhm.
or feeling like they can go out with you or encircling themselves with people. Like that
Mhm.
is learning, right? If it continues months on end, like we're talking 3, 6, 12 months, and you're seeing this person who is self isolating, depleting their self worth, doing maladaptive habits, self isolating, and there are no moments of intermittent reprieve, that is when you step in as a friend and say, like, we're going to grief therapy. You're doing the things. Like, we need to get out. You cannot isolate yourself anymore. You don't have to do anything, but you got to be with us. Like, that's when you step in as a friend and a loved one. But other than that, grief doesn't go away. It's not a time marker. It really, people do just live with it. They live in it and they carry it along with them.
I appreciate that you say that because people seem to think, or from what I've heard, it gets easier as time passes. I'm like, I'm not quite sure that I would describe it that way, because there are moments that we laugh and think about stories, and that's okay. But then there are
Mhm.
other moments that I'm like, I'm just triggered, and I can't tell you that it feels any less than it was yesterday or, a year ago. So when people say it gets easier, no, maybe I'm the exception, but not to me. It doesn't. It's still a loss.
I think
Yeah,
that
I literally
the feeling's the same, we just don't cry about it. That's one of the things. Like,
Yeah.
when we talk about it, but we don't cry. As in, if you would have talked to us 3 years ago, the minute you mentioned something about our past roles, it would come with tears because it was a huge
Oh.
loss. Now, I mean, and I feel like in the loss, we found ourselves also, we lost who we used to be because we were so enthralled in our positions and our titles, and we were able to kind of crawl ourselves out slowly and painfully to reinventing ourselves and really truly finding who we used to be.
Mm.
Um, because you do, you take your job and you take your title and you take your career so seriously that at some point you forget who you used to be. And and it's a painful way. It's like being reborn, I guess. I don't know
Yeah.
how to better
Yeah.
describe it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I
I wanna say one thing if I can. So, one of the things that you said and is spot on is the emotion attached to, and I actually posted this, I was sitting in the car and I had like, one of my friends had said something like, "I just feel like I shouldn't feel these things anymore." And I'm like, "Well, like, why?" Like, I'm like, "This is a
yeah,
huge loss for you, right?" Like, it's a
yeah.
big deal. And, the reality is the emotion attached to the thing doesn't go away.
Mm,
It's just that the severity and the frequency by which it comes up again is less. It's less frequent. But it doesn't go away. Like, if you lose someone you love so much, that emotion is still gonna be attached to that no matter what. Like, I
mm,
don't care what anybody says. And if you have identified yourself as, for example, a mom or parent for all these years, then your kids are all of a sudden, like, at their favorite school, but, like, not barely coming home, right?
yeah.
Like, and that's been such a part of your role and identity. When you think about it and you're like, "It's not there, and I don't have to wake up and make lunches," like, you're still gonna feel sad, it just comes less frequently. It's the same thing with a job. If you've been doing a job for 30 years and you are so attached to it and have had so much meaning to it, it's still gonna feel just as strong, it just is not gonna come up as much. And yes, you may not cry, but I will tell you, like, there are losses I've had in my life, and I'm years out from them, and I still cry. And
Mhm.
there is actually a very healing power in tears. Actually, there's a hormone that's secreted when you actually cry, and it's an actual natural endorphin. So, I tell people all the time, like, from a spiritual perspective, I'm like, "God didn't give you tears not to use them, man. Like, you gotta use them." Like, I tell my big burly guys, like, that come into clinic that because, like, there is a real therapeutic, um, reason for tears. It's not just to clear your eye ducts, but, like, it actually hormonally helps you and is a natural endorphin. So
Great.
yes, girl. So, like, we gotta cry because it is important. There's doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you aren't healed. It doesn't mean, like, you haven't, like, gone through a process. Like, it just means you're a human being who is choosing to allow your emotions to feel them so that you can wipe them off and you can move forward, right? So,
Yeah.
tears are not bad things. Even 5 years out of a trauma or something that you've lost, it's okay. It's actually very normal.
And that's why you feel better
Which
after you
is
cry, right?
Yeah, totally.
it's true.
Because it's a
You do.
natural endorphin. It's a
You're like,
natural
"Oh,
endorphin.
ready to go. I needed a
Yeah,
good
Next.
cry." You heard that before. I just needed a good cry.
that's right. Like, I have people who I'm like, "So I scheduled my crying." I'm like, "Oh, what are you listening to?
What?
Who brings it out?" Like, I don't do it, but, like, I've heard people say that. Like, "Oh my god, Dr. Raed, I had to schedule this cry. I put this one song on, like, Whitney Houston, whatever," and I'm like, "Dang, that is, like,
Wow, that's a whole other level.
it's a whole
Wow.
other but I kinda love it, you know? I mean, I'm like, "Good for you." And
And to the point of, the loss of our positions and our identities and having to reinvent, Anna and I just took it to a different level. We're like just gonna start a new business because we're gonna escape our grief,
yeah,
and we're gonna travel all the freaking time, and then we're gonna take women with us. And apparently, we didn't know, but we're recruiting women going through something in life,
yes.
that an escape. But we run our business like we ran the hospital. We have a five to
Yeah,
one ratio. Like, we can't be 5 women to 1 peacock because, sometimes, things get a little crazy. We have logistics, we've got emergency plans, we've got like everything you would think about running a hospital, we do it, except that there's no death involved, right?
Thank God.
And,
thank
um
God, I was gonna say, hopefully not.
hopefully not. No, hopefully not. But, the whole thing is we just took what we used to do and who we were, and we just kind of flipped it around and reinvented ourselves using the skills that we have and taking
Mhm.
the knowledge that we have and our experience, and we just made it into something wonderful, which makes us feel good. But in the whole process, like I told you earlier, we started realizing that there's more and more women like us, that there's a lot of women out there, and a lot of women who are just kinda like, "I'm 55, I'm done. That's it. I'm just waiting for death to come and pick me up." And we're like, "What the hell?" I always tell Anna, "Anna, I don't know if we have enough time in the next 50 years to do all the things we want to do." 'Cause I feel like, the first 50, there's too much happening. I had to learn how to walk, I learned how to talk, and, a lot of the time was taken up on just development. So I really didn't really have 50 years. I only had like 20, 30 maybe. But the next 50, God willing, I'm healthy and still spunky, I feel like there's not enough time. So I feel like women who feel like I raised my kids and that's it.
Mhm.
Or, my husband left me, or I got divorced, or my husband passed away, whatever it is, like, they just feel like just giving up and then that's it. Like, that's so sad. We don't want women to feel like that.
That's heartbreaking.
I don't think, I want to add to what Sandy just said is that, we decided to do this business. In that moment, I don't think we realized that travel was a catalyst for us. We had
Mhm.
no idea. We were just going with the flow, and thank God for both of us going with the flow because we kinda just encouraged each other, "Okay, it sounds crazy, but can we do it? Yeah, we could do it." And it's usually I'm the one thinking, "Are you sure we're gonna be able to?" And, "Okay, just go with it, just go with it." But we're finding travel is like a catalyst for healing. It propels you to do a number of things. But
Yes.
for us now, inviting women to come with us, right, is we want them to see this is not just okay, yes, you're gonna have fun and we're gonna enjoy ourselves and we're gonna see all these cool things, but I want them to see it as a healing component from wherever they are in life, whatever transition they're going through, to see travel as a catalyst. But do you see this as an opportunity also to help with the grieving parts of life? Not
Mm.
just death, like, like we lose a loved one, of course, but as we're going from one chapter to the next chapter, like, do you see this as a component that can be healing and soothing?
Oh my gosh. So this for me, uh, like, I feel this very deeply. So travel is a way that I process my grief, that I navigate things in my life, and I think the reason why for many women, it really and what the 2 of you are doing is so amazing. Can I just say this really quickly? The 2 of you are doing is so amazing because what happens with grief in general is, like, at some point, if you've done it, if you've worked through it, if you've processed, if you've allowed yourself the space, there is a moment where you find sort of this catalyst of positive impact that you can create. And I've seen it with parents who've lost children, right? Like the deepest grief people can feel.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean you've like failed if you haven't, right? But like there is something about grief that can be a huge catalyst for you. Like when life changes and it upends, you got some choices, you know?
Mhm.
So for me, travel has been a huge one. And I think the fact that you two are giving a safe space for women and not that it's bad to have men there, but there is something about traveling with women. So I travel with a girlfriend. I do a girlfriend trip every year because as women, whether you're in your 20s or
Mhm.
you are 90 years old, there is
Mhm.
this thread that runs through all of us that there's a level of understanding and compassion that you can't find in a couples group. You can't
Yeah.
find it in a group with traveling with men. Like, you just can't. Like, it's just different. You're talking about all the different things. You're talking about menopause. You're talking about periods. You're talking about tampons. You're talking about, "Oh my god, girl, I lost a tampon in the ocean. That was so weird." Like, you're just talking about all the crazy things that have happened that if you talk to a man about it, they're never gonna
They
understand,
can't
right?
relate. They
That's right.
can't relate.
They can't relate to, "Oh my god, like, my kids just left the house, and I feel like who am I anymore?" Right? And so I think the reason it happens is when you travel, whether alone or with a group, you literally leave the roles and identity you have back home.
Mhm.
Amen,
That's
and
what we
that's
say.
exactly what we say. Absolutely.
Yes. You leave the role of a wife. You leave the role of a divorcee. You leave the role of a mama who has to like make sure all the meals are okay and your husband's fine and he's not in a pissy mood and like, managing the meals and all the things. What do we call the women in a household? The CEO, the CFO, the COO, the CCCCCO somethings of every household. You get to leave that identity and
Mhm.
exist
Mhm.
and
Amen.
explore. And it's not, I don't know, like, we say this whole thing about, like, "I wanna find myself," but I actually don't know that we're finding ourselves. I think we're forming ourselves.
Mhm.
We're becoming probably what was authentically ourselves when we were little, that we
Yes.
abandoned along the way for the 17 roles we had in our profession, in our relationships, in our motherhoods, in our caregiving. And we get to finally come back and reform our authentic self and grow in the experiences that we've had, the good, the bad, the ugly, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's why traveling self or with a group of women really allows you to do that. So I just give the 2 of you so many kudos because I know you've been through so much. I resonate with so much of it, but you are allowing other women to truly form themselves with not a new identity, but a re-identification
Mhm.
of genuine authentic self by seeing and experiencing new things. Like, it's such a beautiful mission, honestly. Like, I know you
Thank
started it
you.
for fun and to just, like, go with the flow and
Escape.
do it, but
Well,
I would
I
imagine it's become a mission for you.
Yeah.
it's taking a life of its own because
Yeah.
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
the most important thing is that, we travel with the women. It's either both
Yeah.
of us or one of us because we wanna make sure that the women understand that how do you say it? Walk the talk?
Mhm.
Yeah, you're walking the talk, right? We're doing it. We're there. We're there to say, "It's gonna be okay." Yes, you're traveling to Dubai, you're gonna be okay. It's 16 hours? Yes, I know, but you're so excited, it's gonna feel like 8. So, we're there to provide, the guidance, the encouragement, and, and we're not just kinda like, "Okay, everybody, we're here." No, we're hyped. I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
I'm
let's go,
like
let's go.
and, my role has always been and Anna, thank God for Anna being such a following along. I'm the queen of, "Well, Anna, we're already there. I was thinking that we should, next country." I mean, we've driven from Italy to Croatia. We have, I'm already like, "Well, Anna, we're already gonna be at the African safari, and, we're gonna do a Camino de Santiago. We're walking 78 miles next month." Girl,
Yes.
and when we actually offered that trip, women came out of nowhere wanting to go on this walk because they wanna find the answers on the Camino, which I didn't think I was watching the movie with Martin Sheen when I was like and I called Anna, like, at 11:30 at night, and I was like, "Dude, I think we should do a Camino de Santiago." She's like, "Oh my god, are you freaking crazy?" I was like, "Girl, it's gonna be fun." Of course, now it's been a year and we've been training, and I'm like, "I don't know how this is gonna go." But first part of everything is showing up, and we're gonna be there, and we're gonna be leading by example, right, Anna?
I think yes, we're gonna definitely lead by example. I think we lead by example in different ways. I didn't see this until now. So first of all, you have 2 different personalities with them, right? When we go on these trips, you see it right off the bat. Sandy's one way, I'm another way. But, in family units, when they say, "Okay, she's divorced, she's a single mom, she takes care of her mom," right? I've been married 36 years, 3 adult children. I have grandkids. So women in different whatever their dynamics are, can relate,
Yes.
right? They can say, "Oh, she goes too. Okay, oh, that's good." But then you don't have to always be on. You can be quiet and reserved, and you can still enjoy, right? And I think I made it as a thing, when Sandy says, I'm cool with just following along. I think I made it a point to be like that because I wasn't always like that. I always figured no, we gotta make sure we have everything lined up and all our T's crossed and all our I's dotted, and now I'm like, "Oh, well, maybe we have a T crossed, maybe we don't. We'll cross it when we get there." I had to be okay with being flexible and know that not it's not a laid out plan. We have a framework. I always and Sandy laughs at me. I'm like, "I'm the logistics strategic, in terms of are we gonna stop at that red light and then turn right, or are we gonna go left? Like, what is it?" And she's like, "We're just gonna go." "Oh, okay." There's a reel that we have when we went to Switzerland, and we didn't know anybody in Switzerland. We were just going, and I'm like, "Okay, let's just go." We're on this train. I'm like, "Sandy, so how are we gonna get from here to here?" She goes, "Okay, so we're gonna start here, and then we're gonna go down here, and then when we get here, we're gonna go down here, and then from here, I don't know." I remember looking at her and just started laughing. I have no idea where I'm going in another country. And yet here we are. We live to tell, right? So I've made it a conscious effort to just say I'm going to go along with the flow because you know what? That's what life is about. Go
Yeah.
along with the flow. So for me, go for it, Sandy. Where are we doing now? What are we doing next? Okay, now we're going to go on an air balloon. Holy cow, here we go. I'm afraid of heights. And I tell people all the time because I want women to know even though you're afraid of heights, you can do it too. I've already
Mhm.
been on the Burj Khalifa. I've been on a hot air balloon. I've been at that needle, whatever thing. I just face it. And so for me, you need a peacock like Sandy to have all these crazy ideas. And in my mind, that I need to have everything mapped out and everything, it's like, you got to let that go. You have to let that go and be okay with it and run with it, right? Just, okay, did we die? No, we're still here. Okay, go for it. That's the question. That's how I see it. So, a conscious effort of knowing who you are, what you're comfortable with, and maybe in my past, I wasn't this methodical, but I've been made to be methodical and have everything lined out. And so now I'm like I'm making a conscious effort. Okay, I'm just going to follow along. I don't know what's going to happen of it, but I can guarantee this. You're going to have a great time and then you're going to go back and say, "I can't believe I did that." I'd
Mhm.
rather have those moments than I wish I would have done that. I don't want to have wish.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is life is very, very short.
Mm,
And so I would challenge every woman
yes.
at every stage, and men too. Like, they are going through their own thing. I mean, like, men are navigating very difficult things, but I know our audience is women, but I would challenge every human, but especially women.
Yes.
Get out of your comfort zone to find what really sparks your life, your joy, your meaning at every stage. And it shifts and it pivots and it's really beautiful. Can I share a personal adage?
Yes.
Do you mind?
Yes, no, please.
Okay, so I'm divorced. I've been divorced for 3.5 years. Talking about my personal life is really hard for me, but it's okay. And a couple I really went through it. Like, it was a lot. I'd been with my partner for many, 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 many decades. Okay. So, there were a couple things I did, to ground me because I knew I was gonna feel completely lost and like I was floating, and I too had left my job to really focus on my relationship, and then life imploded, right? And so, there were lots of losses in that time, and I did a couple things. One of the things I made myself do is have a goal because I knew I had to have something, so I forced myself to read 1 book a month.
Mm,
'Cause it was something I loved doing when I was younger, but I had totally abandoned because I was busy.
mhm,
So I forced myself to do that. I I ended up reading, like, 45 books that year, by the way, because like, that's how us overachievers do things, like, we set a goal and then we're like, "We can do 5 times that," right?
I hear
Um,
you.
yeah, right. I mean, it's silly, but it is what it is. I really enjoyed it. And then I got back to my art, and then I promised myself I was gonna finally do a trip for myself. Myself. And I things had always had to be very structured just based off of life and things,
Mhm,
and I booked Hawaii, and it was actually for a conference, so I knew I was gonna know people there, right? But then I flew to San Diego, and I was like, "You know what? I think I wanna bounce islands." So before so
That's my language. You're talking my language, girl.
that day, I was like, "You know what? I'm going to Kauai. Like, we're just gonna go. I'm just gonna hop. We're just gonna I'm doing it." Right? Like, no plan, had no idea what I was doing.
mhm,
I was like, "I should probably get a car. Should probably do that." So and then I was like, "I should probably get a place to stay." So, like, here I am landing in Hawaii, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna book it somewhere else in 3 days," right? Normal life, I would have never done that,
mm,
but I did it, and it was the best experience ever, and, like, the universe sorta gave me everything I needed.
mhm,
And I felt the most grounded and like myself that I have probably felt in like 25 years. And what I learned about myself is I hate plans. I am a free spirit. I love to go with the flow and meet people. I will go down a hiking path that says, "Don't go down this hiking path." Smart person, sometimes in bad decisions, but it was great because I saw 2 waterfalls, s
Mm,
to the waterfall, into the cave. Probably shouldn't have done it. Amazing experience. I'm not saying I recommend it. It was a wonderful experience, though. And when I came back, I felt like, "Oh my god, I am actually reforming myself." Like,
mhm,
I am rebirthing who I actually am.
mhm,
And from that moment, I was like, "That's it. I'm traveling. I'm traveling every year. I'm budgeting for it, and this is what's happening." And because I am finding my personhood again, my authentic self. So it's been that journey is really cool and special, and I think travel is one of the coolest ways to do it, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Like, you can go find a log cabin somewhere and
mhm,
sit for a couple days and
mhm.
journal and be with yourself and meditate and just be hiking and eat some good food. Like, it doesn't have to be extravagant. If you can afford it, do it, you know?
Right.
But
Oh, of
yeah,
course.
But I
yeah.
think that sometimes, folks are scared of the unknown, right? And they end up going to the same places all the time. And then we're like, but for the fraction of what you paid for that trip, you could have gone, for example, you could have gone to Morocco. And it's a whole, but a lot of people don't do because they're scared and they're fearful, and I understand that. But it's kind of like that's part of the excitement, right? Like the unknown. I mean, it's not like we're gonna go to, a place where they're actively at war. Like, that's not smart, we shouldn't do that. But there's so many places that when you
Mhm,
go, you say, "F it, I'm doing this. I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go, and guess what? I don't know what's gonna happen." Because sometimes that's part of the excitement, right? Like, you're like, "Maybe I should rent a car." So Anna told me in Italy, because 'cause we're driving to Croatia, and she's like, "So, how are we gonna get back to the hotel after at nighttime?" I was like, "I don't know, we'll figure it out." And Anna was like, "Okay."
we're
Right?
in a foreign country, it's dark, I mean, but you know what? Here's it always works out. It always works out. It doesn't matter. You either find someone to start talking and they lead you another way, or it just happens. And I've learned it's almost like the process of learning to trust yourself. That's
Yes.
what I can say is just trust yourself, right? And of course, it makes it a little easier when you're with someone else, but still trust yourself. It's
Yeah.
going to be fine.
Yes.
What's that hashtag? I'm not going to get Phoebe, right? Hashtag FIBI, F it, book it.
Mhm.
Okay, look it.
Yes. I think that's the beauty of what you all provide because I think as women, well, and the real let's just speak truth, right? People are afraid of what they don't know.
Yeah.
There is a fear of the other, right? The other, the unknown. We hear things in the media. The reality is, I'll be honest, there has not been a place I have been, and I have traveled a lot where I don't feel safe.
Yeah.
I
Like,
agree 100%.
honest to God, like, and even when I went to Morocco, people were like, "Oh, you're going to Morocco, be careful, like, they're not so friendly to women," and I was like, I felt very respected, very safe, people were very appropriate, right? Like, I didn't feel a single thing.
Yeah.
So,
I
I
agree.
think when we step outside of our comfort zone, we actually get to learn so much about people and that gives us a little insight, only into others, people's cultures, their faiths, all the different things, but also about ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you get to see things about yourself that you actually really liked. Like, I'm like, oh,
Oh.
I really like that. I actually didn't
Mhm.
think I would like that, but I really love that. And I want to do more of that. And so that's a really beautiful thing. And the two of you offer it in a space where women who don't want to do solo travel, because that
Mhm.
can be very intimidating,
Yes.
especially also when you already have like women guilt that we all live with.
Yes.
I don't want
Yes.
Yes.
my husband. I don't want to leave my kids. I don't want to spend
Right.
this money on myself, right? Like, I feel
Oh my god.
selfish. All
How
the
selfish.
things that do to us, right? You allow these women to be in community so they feel safe, but also can have time for themselves to explore. So I think that's just such a beautiful balance. And, if anybody's listening to this, I say do it. I can't get rid of your guilt, your mom guilt, your wife guilt, your job guilt, your responsibility CEO, CFO, CEO guilt. But what I can say is after you do it, you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to feel a lot
Absolutely.
better. You're
And
probably gonna make some travel besties.
Oh,
You
yes.
are. And I'll tell you this. So the first trip we took was with our kids. We went to Europe. We took our kids. A 3-week trip was going to turn into 6 weeks. And of course, I was like, Anna, we're already in Spain. I think we should go to France. We should go to Paris. And she's like, mark my words. They don't speak English there. And I said, you have got to be freaking kidding me. I said, no, we're going. And because it was, again, unfamiliar, we were in Spain. We speak
Mhm.
Spanish, of course. So it's very safe. Anywhere where they speak Spanish is safe. But it was like the beginning. When we went to Paris and she was like, "I only know how to say je ne parle anglais or parlez-vous anglais," she was like,
Parlez-vous anglais? That's it. And
and
if
that
they
was the
say
beginning.
no,
And that was when her little egg cracked and the little chick came out, and she was like, "Okay, I think I could do this," which is a beautiful thing. And we went to Cuba. We've been to places that people are like, "Oh my god, you're gonna go there? Aren't you scared?" We're like, "Of what?" What are we gonna be scared of? And then you said it. And if you do it with a group of women, there's more security there. And yeah,
mm,
and our travel besties, become friends and they like to travel together and then they do things outside of travel, like they go to concerts or they meet up for a cigar thing. And that's the beauty of it that now, because you have friends and then you have travel friends. They're not the same
mm,
people.
mm-mm,
Because then everybody can't
mm-mm,
travel. We know that. We got
mm-mm,
that one friend that wants to sleep to 3 p.m. And I'm like, girl, you could have stayed in LA for that. Like, you don't need to travel across the world to do that, right?
mm-mm.
Um, and or you have friends that can't afford it. You got friends you can't afford it. Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to worry about that no more. And all the women always find something that they have in common. Always,
Mhm.
no matter what. And like this last trip to Morocco, we had women who were in their late 20s and we had women that were in their mid 50s. And let me tell you, they all came together because the ones that were in their late 20s, some of them were looking for jobs because they were doing a career shift. So the older ladies were like, oh, you know what? I know so and so, and they're looking for your type of person. So let's connect. And it was beautiful. It was like travel networking. It was like all in one. Everybody felt secure. We had a young lady who was thinking about opening up her own business. And she was like, but I don't know where to get started. The women were encouraging her. So it's not just travel, it's connection. It's
Yes.
empowerment. It's growth. It's really like pushing each other up, until we can't push you anymore because the trip has ended. But that's the beauty of it, that you find women that are very much like you and who will empower you and they love to travel. And that's
Mm.
part of it, where you're trying to reinvent yourself or trying to refine yourself, that this is the group of people that will not push you to the finish line, but walk with you to the finish line and be like, okay, you're going to be okay. And that's what we're trying to do unintentionally, but here we are. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Like, it's not that you can outrun your grief, your loss, the things you're
Yeah,
navigating, but you can give it a different kind of space to move.
Yeah.
And travel can really support that healing, especially when you're around supportive people, who are kind of in it for the same thing too, right? So
Yeah.
it's a really beautiful way to do things, and there's so many ways to navigate healing and grief and to not be lost in, what you have to do, but to find the things that mean something for you as a woman navigating your loss and grief, or a man.
I was just gonna say, for Sandy and I, we both have sons, right? And they
Mhm.
watch us do what we do, and
Mm.
they kinda just like, "Okay." But for men, there has to be another, it may not look the same, but there should
Mhm.
be this kind of space as well because
Yes.
they too are navigating life transitions and these expectations. And, for our sons that are younger, like for me, I always wanna convey that, "Listen, watch what I'm doing and I'm learning at 50, right, in my 50 era, but you can take the same thing and do it in your 20s and your 30s. And let's save all that grief that we placed on ourselves, right?" And,
Yes.
so my sons now, my husband and my son actually got to see me in my element. We hosted a travel bestie appreciation brunch and they were there. And they got to hear the stories of the women talking about what Sandy and I do. And they kind of were like, "We thought you guys were just packing bags and going off and partying. No, buddy, we're doing a lot more." And so now it's I think more concrete for them to kind of understand what we're doing, but I also see that it's very also needed for the men that, they also need this space and be able to have these conversations. It may not look like ours, but it's still
Yeah.
something that's needed.
Yes. So I will say this. So obviously I take care of men, women, children, right? Um men sh- what I have noticed is men go through a lot of grief and loss. They tend to have less community. So
Mhm.
women, we naturally will pull other women in and identify
Yes.
with each other. And even those of us that are more closed off personally will tend to share and find some sort of commonality. Whereas for men, it tends to be their wife, their spouse, their significant other. And
Mhm.
if that's not there, they really don't have, and also your spouse, your significant other can't be everything for you, right? Like
Yeah.
they just can't. And so men really do need community to speak on the grief and losses that they have because they have a lot. So even in my clinic, oftentimes my patients are very, very sick, but the things that the men talk about, it's very similar. They talk about it in a different way, but it's the loss of identity in terms of jobs, like not being the financial breadwinner, losing other friends that they thought would be there and are no longer there,
Mhm.
um, not having their kids around to buffer between their
Mhm.
spouse and them
Mhm.
because that relationship feels really strained, right? They have the losses of like physical intimacy and physical abilities. And society puts a significant amount of pressure on men to be okay, to not express emotions. Tears are a weakness. Talking
Mhm.
about your stuff is bad. Like, just move on, get over it, be a bro, right? And so it is very dangerous. And I actually think it's very detrimental to do that to anyone, but especially like men in our communities. So mental health is a big deal. And we need to attend to that when men have their own grief and loss and allow them the space to identify ways that they feel like they are forming themselves in the different spaces of their life. So, totally agree with you on that. I mean, I see it all the time. It's why I have a therapist that I work with as a palliative care physician. He's a male. I send them to him.
Yeah.
Because it's really important, and then encouraging them to have community. Like, I don't care where it is as long as it's a good, like,
Yeah.
good good people,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't know where you find it, even if it's a person
Just
that has the same illness as you, like a support group. Like, you gotta
yeah.
find, because we're not meant to live alone. Like, we're meant to
We're
live in community.
social.
Yes, exactly. So, yes, exactly. Like, I
We
know the
tried.
audience is women,
We
but I
tried.
think all of it translates for men. Every single thing that I've said today and that you ladies have said translates for the men in our lives too.
So, Dr. Raed, so before we
Yeah.
end this
Yes.
podcast, what are your final thoughts for those ladies who are listening to us?
Yes. So I just wanna say truly that as a physician, as a woman myself, as a mama, as a divorcee, as all the titles, right? Like all the things, as a
Mhm.
professor, as a IG person now, like that's doing like grief and loss, like in I don't know, it's all weird, right? But I just wanna say this, like as women, we truly do navigate a significant amount of pivots in our life. We grieve, we have loss, we have changes, body, mind, spirit, all of it. It is very important to give it language. It's important to understand that when your body feels off, when you're feeling like something just doesn't feel right, it's probably because you are on the precipice of something big changing, a
Mhm.
meaning that is lost for you, and you are needing to reform yourself and find that person you authentically and genuinely are still, but have got lost in the shuffle. And it is okay. It is called grief. It is called grief and loss. You are allowed to live in it and process it and give yourself the time and the space to do it. It can look very different for different people. I think Anna, Sandy, and I travel probably is one of the things we naturally do, but it doesn't have to be that. It can be identifying with a friend, finding a community, sitting and meditating, journaling, going back to your art, doing music, reading a book. It can be anything. But to find that and allow yourself the permission to grieve and process so that you can come out on the other end sitting with your grief,
Mm,
carrying it, but
yeah.
knowing you are reforming yourself and becoming the person that you will be. So I just thank you so much for this platform, ladies. Like, I've just had such a good time. It's so easy to talk to you. I'm so grateful.
We are grateful to you for sharing because you put it into perspective, but not only that, you gave us the language.
Yes.
We feel it, we're going through it, but how do we identify it? And you've shared that. Not only that, but we got a glimpse of, what you from your angle and what your experience is. So we really do appreciate your time and your generosity with sharing with us
You.
and our travel besties because this is huge. This is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you both so much.
Thank you
I
so
can't
much,
wait to give you
Dr.
hugs
Raya.
in person one.
I know we're gonna have to make it happen. We're gonna have to make it happen for sure.
We
We're
will.
gonna have to share
I have no doubt.
all our travel plans, so we'll see where we're gonna meet up. But thank you so much,
Sounds
Dr. Raya. It
good.
was really meant to be for us to meet in the restroom, washing our hands,
Yes.
I
like
think
good,
so.
Yes.
like good providers. And I want
Yes.
to thank you again. And I look forward to seeing you soon. And hopefully, we can get you back on our podcast. This is
Yes,
definitely
I would
this is definitely gonna be a two-parter. And
Oh yeah.
where can our listeners find your Instagram? What is your handle?
Oh, yes. So, in line with the fact that I didn't wanna be a doctor, I wanted to be a fashion designer, right? It's called at Well Dressed Witness MD. And I really talk about demystifying palliative care, what it is, what it isn't, grief, loss, trauma, healing, and hope in the midst of life's kind of crazy chaos and all the things that people navigate. So come find me.
Well,
Likewise.
thank you so much, Dr. Rayan. We wish you a great weekend,
Yes, you.
and to our travel besties, we will be on
Mm.
our way to Greece, and then we'll be doing a research trip in Portugal. Then we're heading out to El Camino de Santiago. We'll be meeting 15 of our travel besties, and we're going to end with a travel.
Thank you.
Uh,
Have a
Thank
wonderful
until the
you.
next time. Until the next
Until
time.
next time.
All right, travel besties, that's a wrap. If this episode made you laugh, think, or start Googling flights, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Threads. And don't ghost us. Sign up for our newsletter at twopeacockstravel.com. Until next time, pack your curiosity, leave expectations behind, and keep saying yes to yourself.